Welcome, Speed Gaming, to another episode of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. Worlds Collide is a Final Fantasy VI open world randomizer in the same vein of Free Enterprise you may be familiar with. My name is Boo. I'm joined by Ravlin. In the background, we have It's Naku and Ceiling Cat on tracking. And our runners tonight are RadioGuyPDX versus Seto Kiaba. So we are in the middle of what we are calling our Coliseum tournament. This is a 1v1 bracket style challenge. This is the what we call our returners bracket. So this is it's a nice way of saying the losers bracket. So this will be an elimination race tonight, and whoever wins will move on, and the other one will be out. So Ravlin, why don't you give us a little bit of info about the flag set we'll be running tonight?
Sounds good. So, like a lot of other randomizers, we are looking for a certain number of objectives before we can actually enter into the final boss tower, Kefka's Tower, and defeat the game. We are looking for a total of 6 characters, 11 espers, and kill 1 dragon on the way. So those are the things our runners are going to be looking for as they do various checks around the world that are opened up by characters. So the entire game is not open to them, but each character will open up a certain number of checks. Other than that, one of our biggest changes on this particular flag set is that we have our chests set to a setting that is shuffle plus 20% of the chests are completely random, while our shops are random tiered, which means that each shop has a chance of having some really good items, but more likely they're going to have some low tier and middling at best items.
Yeah, just to add a bit of extra challenge. When you do add randomness to the shops and chests, there's always that chance you might score some Illuminas and Ragnaroks and all sorts of good stuff in those shops. So want to just provide, since this is now week 4 of the tournament, we're getting incrementally, progressively difficult each week. So these are our seasoned veterans, at least as far as this tournament's concerned. So we're making things just a little bit more difficult for them. And Ravlin, if you want to quit this race in here, we'll get them.
Oh my goodness,
Started.
that is my bad.
No worries.
So while our racers get started, just a little peek into what is going on in this particular tournament. So Seto Kiaba was our number 31 seed, who has actually made quite a run down through this returners bracket, and Radio Guy PDX is our number 23 seed. So both of these runners, according to the seeding, are doing quote unquote better than they should have. So this is actually very exciting to see these two runners facing each other here, and they will be facing Spell Zap. I believe that's our number 6 seed next. So whoever wins this is going to have a challenge ahead of them.
Yeah, so we should also point out this started with 32 people. Just power of 2 bracketing. But we have a question in the chat. What's with the numbers? Assume you mean down at the bottom there in the tracker. So those account for the number of espers, the number of characters, and the number of dragons our players will have to find throughout the run.
The yellow number is the goal, and the white number is how many they have. We are starting off with 3 characters. That means we will have 3 characters worth of checks to do at the very beginning of the game. Sometimes it's a little bit more traditional for us to start off with 2. And here we are. We have a Gao, Gogo, and Realm start. One of the things that we do randomize here is we randomize the abilities that characters have. So you notice that Gao did not have Rage, Realm did not have Sketch, Gogo had what Gogo has because he's a special snowflake. But Gao instead had, I believe it was Sword Tech and Health. The way our commands are in this one is that they are random, so we can have multiple instances of an individual ability. Even sometimes my absolute favorite thing, which is when Gao gets the same command twice.
Just dealing with a couple little technical snafus here, but I think we're off and running now.
Alrighty.
Okay, so yeah, as you may know, at the start of most randomizers, sorry if you talked about this, I was dealing with some stuff, but I'm going to say, walking through, collecting loot, doing some shopping. The objective, of course, to get defensive gear, offensive, weapons, spells, things to throw. So they'll be going out around to the treasure-dense areas, usually near some shops, to try to get everything done all at once. But once they feel they're prepared for boss number 1, hopefully we'll see them get going and can loot along the way. When racing, you're really looking for efficiency, both in your routing. When you're routing your bosses, trying to make progression, but also in your looting.
Absolutely. So yeah, typically the first depends on each individual seed, but I would say 10 to 15 minutes or so. Racers do tend to go around the world to various places. Narsh is a popular one. South Figaro is also popular. The Returner's Hideout. Sometimes you'll get into places like Albrook, places with treasure chests, hopefully more than one. Trying to find what I generally call that thing that will break open the seed for me, whether that is a rod or an elemental shield that I can break to defeat a couple of monsters or a boss, or if it's a particularly good piece of defensive gear so that I can just outlast whatever is coming up. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that will help me break this seed open.
Yep, and we've removed most of that stuff from shops. So the likelihood that they'll find something great in a shop that they can just keep buying over and over to cheese it, if you will, is the odds should be low. It can still happen in the tiered shops that we're using. There is still good stuff that can be available. It's just much more rare. So if they happen to find the right shop, there's a possibility they can still find Valiant knives or something insanely good for sale. But that'll be the fun part.
Yep. And so each one of the characters that they have is going to open up a certain number of checks that are available to them. And that's going to determine a lot of their routing after they do this initial looting. I noticed that Seto Kiaba had found dried meat in one of the shops, which opens up one of Gao's checks on the Veld. It is effectively a free check. You have to fight a random battle and then hope that Gao shows up and feed him the dried meat, just like in vanilla. We also have Gao's Serpent Trench available to us. That is kind of a risky play this early because you may or may not have the ability to defeat the monster packs that are there.
But we see Seto buying some smoke bombs, and in this particular flag set, everything that's not a boss you can run from. So, being that there's no boss in the Serpent Trench, theoretically you don't have to fight anything. You can make it free. So, that dried meat is actually a pretty nice pickup because then you won't have to go around looking for it in shops. So that should save them some time, and you can combine those two checks considering the Serpent Trench is a cave on the Veldt. So that'll be a nice little package deal there.
Yep. One thing our runners will want to be careful of is the way that we progress enemies in this game is that for each check that they do that gives them progression towards their goal. So every time they get an Esper or a character, our enemies are going to gain 2 levels. Those 2 levels can start adding up. So if you are able to do the Serpent Trench and run away from everything and do the dried meat check, you might end up with enemies who are level 10 or 14 or 15, and you're only level 3, and that could present a problem.
And for everybody who wants to follow along with this tournament, I'm going to post a link to the bracket in the chat so you can see where everybody is. Again, we're sort of in week 4, but this is the returners bracket, so some people are on a bye right now. Only 4 matches going on, moving into our semifinal round next week.
Yep. And while they do this, so we've got Gao's checks available to us. We also have Gogo's check, which is Zone Eater, just where you would normally recruit Gogo. in the World of Ruin. That is technically free as well. There are no required fights, although that falling ceiling catches a surprising number of runners in its wake.
And of course, there is the NPC that loves to troll anyone who comes near it. So while it is technically a free check, it can still be a long check depending on your luck.
Yep. And then Realm gives us Esper Mountain, where you would normally fight Ultros just before the interminable Phasma cutscenes in Vanilla, and Ozer's Mansion in World of Ruin. For those who aren't unaware, we are able to go between the World of Balance and the World of Ruin just by talking to the control panel on the airship. That is one of the options, just like liftoff and land is. We can head over to the other world and flip back and forth.
The worlds, they are colliding.
So if you were faced with this start, what would your first check be?
So the first check, since I found dried meat, I would definitely I would land right next to the Serpent Trench on the Veldt, do the dried meat check, hope I get something good, and then go straight through the trench, especially since I have those smoke bombs, or at least if I'm Seto anyway. And yeah, that's two basically free checks, and then you can use, if you don't even have to smoke bomb if you have the ability, if you have the offense, kill everything along the way, and you can be grinding levels as you go.
Yep. One thing I did notice was our characters do have slightly randomized stats. They're not completely random. They're within, I believe, 85 and 115% of average.
Right.
Our realm does have 50 base magic power, which is absurd.
Yeah, that's nuts. I think in Vanilla, I believe it's 46, and she already had the highest, so that's pretty good.
The downside is until you find magic for her, her ability right now is Steel. It's not going to do us much good, so we need to find some magic for her to use, whether that's a rod to throw or, any sort of spell. Until then, she's going to be very underwhelming as a character.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully they'll find a rod or something in a chest and won't be finding him in the shops. Seto's employing a strategy some runners like of grinding while looting in South Figaro, as there are enemies down there, and making use of some revivifies to take out an undead dragon there in that last fight. Runs into some easy leafers and dark winds here. So will be easy to take care of, but won't give him much in the XP field.
Nope. Radio Guy did just complete our first check. There are a few checks that are universally available. This one was the Thief in the Woods in Zen, and he was able to find a Esper Stray, and I am vamping a little bit, hoping that he's not going to look at it so I can't see what it is. Darn it. So that Esper could hold some of the magic that we need to unlock this seed and make Realm a useful character.
So on Seto's screen, looks like Realm just learned Fire too, so he must have found a Flame Shield in there somewhere. So that's, yep. I'm going to move that Flame Shield around, get everybody learned up with Fire too, and the benefit of having Gogo on your squad is he knows all the magic everybody in your party knows. So offense getting better already.
Absolutely. A Fire 2 from a realm with 50 magic power is going to do surprising amounts of damage. And the fact that Seto is already off of level 3, you've got more HP, you've got a little bit, more offense just because your level is higher. Seto is in a place that is slightly more comfortable than Radio Guy is at this point, because level 3 is actually a terrifying place to be.
Yep, luckily one grind fight will usually at least double your level. You just have to hope you don't run into something particularly nasty. Radio Guy gonna make some room for some earrings, it looked like, which is probably like pound for pound the best item you can find in the game. That's not a weapon or something, because it does an obscene amount of damage boost for relatively low money, and it fits right there in your relic slot. And they stack, so realm with 2 earrings out of 50 base magic, I mean, she's going to be murdering.
Did you see Radio Guy just found earrings in the clock as soon as he had bought them?
Aw, Sage. That's all right. He can give them to Gao and Gogo too. Everybody loves earrings.
Yep. I would say one of the only relics that is better is the hero ring, which is literally earrings and an atlas armlet stapled together.
Yeah, although hero rings are significantly more expensive, so if you're not running any physical damage, you can sell them and buy 3 or 4 earrings. So while I agree they are great, kind of depends on your situation. They're really good to find because then it gives you the option of a lot of money or a lot of usefulness.
Yep. And if you have a pair of earrings and a hero ring, they will stack with each other because in the code it is actually just earrings and atlas armlet pasted together.
Just saw some Aura Lances for sale on Radio Guy's screen in IKEA there. We've got
And
Dragoon Boots for
Dragoons.
sale. Can make some good use out of that. Hopefully find a dragon horn along the way somewhere and get to pogoing all over the screen, but not there yet.
Jump strats are one of my favorite things just because it makes that particular character invulnerable when they're up in the air. So not only are you able to pogo stick all around the enemy and do 1.5 to 2 times damage depending on the weapon you have equipped, but also they are protected.
Very true. You can't hit what you can't see. So a Radio Guy must be looking for something specific. He's traveling from town to town doing some shopping. He might be looking for warp stones, maybe, as that's something you want to have before you start doing a lot of checks, because there are some checks that you don't want to run back out of. It takes a long time. However, if you have to search 10 towns before you can find them, that's you're not saving any time at that point. So he's going to need to make a decision if that indeed is what he's looking for, to just go ahead and get moving.
He could also be just scoping out the tiered shops to see if there is something like Aura Lances elsewhere or something on the same tier. Having Aura Lances available in 2 places isn't that useful. Or he's looking for dried meat. I'm not sure if he found dried meat yet.
Yeah, that could certainly be it too. Where did we see Seto find his?
Found it in a shop. I do not recall which shop off the top of my head.
It was a shop. I didn't know if he found it in. I thought he might have found it in. Oh, it was the returner site out. I think that's where he was when we talked about it anyway.
Possibly. So Seto is now looking for that Gao on the Veld here. So on the Veld, you will only encounter enemies that you have encountered before, plus the original Lobo pack of a single Lobo. So those wiry dragons were not very kind to Seto, but maybe if he has another Revivify, this black dragon could do it. But I don't believe Gao can appear in a back attack.
Nope, it's got to be a regular attack. A side attack won't work either.
But other than that, the Gao check is 5 out of 8 to appear on every battle. That is not a side attack or a back attack. Looks like Narsh was actually pretty stacked there. We found a Flame Shield and an Aegis Shield. Quite a bit of decent defensive gear pretty early.
Yeah, I think the Narsh treasure room is probably the second most treasure dense room in the game. There are some areas that have a couple more chests, but they require a lot more moving around. So I think it's a good place to start. So it looks like he's found. He was looking for dried meat. Must have bought warp stones already because they were in that shop as well. So I think he's found what he's looking for, and should see him get moving soon.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I haven't really seen a lot of good offensive options. I mean, you can break the Flame Shield for, one battle. But other than that, not a lot of really great weapons, that I'm noticing here. We can buy an Aura Lance to go with those Dragoon Boots, but that hasn't happened yet. and Stray has Ice, Berserk, and Poison, so not completely useless.
Berserk has some good utility, but yeah, it's not going to win you a lot of fights. Seto having some bad luck with his formations here, but finds another. At least he's getting lucky with the enemies he can kill very easily with these revivifies. But still no dice on the check. Gonna have to keep trying.
No, but everyone in his party is learning that Fire 2 spell now, so assuming you don't hit a Flame Eater or an Inferno or something, you will be able to kill it.
So they're basically neck and neck now. Radio Guy has kind of caught up now. Seto is a few levels ahead, but grinding on the Velt won't get you any XP, so he wasn't making any level progress there. And of course, Radio Guy lucks out and finds his check on the first try. So we're neck and neck here.
And we get a Carbuncle. Hope one of our runners opens it up and takes a look at it so that we can see what we have. We have Quick.
Very useful spell in late game, but probably not going to be able to make any use of it before Kefka's Tower, most likely. It's a very expensive spell, and giving you it, which Quick gives your the caster 2 turns in a row to use. It's a very handy spell. Very handy spell. Can't be can't be countered in the middle of it, but it's very expensive. And if you're not working with much offense, it's really you're just taking an extra time to do not much. So it requires a little bit of finesse.
A little bit of finesse, a little bit of setup. Retainers and Dark Force are definitely not something you want to see here. That's a gross battle.
Yeah, that one. Those can take you out quick. So I like the smoke bomb there. See if so. Radio Guy got a preemptive, which is nice. They won't have to use a smoke bomb. I don't know if he has any, but that's a free run. This random encounters are being fairly kind. Nothing that's going to do too much damage here, except for those retainers. But that was fairly easy.
Yep. And one thing we are seeing is one of the more recent features that our developer included was making sure that if 2 people are going through the Serpent Trench or other fixed encounters at the same time, they're going to hit the same sets of encounters, assuming they take the same path through the Serpent Trench.
Right. Yeah. So the battles will be randomized as far as the seed goes, but yes, the set should be the same for everybody.
That may have decided a couple of races in the past where we have shuffled in bosses into fixed encounters, and some people have gotten Serpent Trenches of like Goddess, Inferno, and other people got Leafers.
Yep.
I'm not bitter about that at all.
Yeah, in a race situation, you want it to be as amicable as possible. Nothing too troubling in the trench here. But you see at the beginning of the game, you really don't start with much MP, and Gao is already out. So his offense is a little lean right now. So we're just going to take off out of here.
Yeah. And Gao is actually going to be pretty useful there with the combination of sword tech and health. I mean, health is basically a free cure too, which is nothing to sneeze at. That can keep you healthy throughout the end of the game. You don't need anything else, and I missed what that reward was.
That was a red cap, Ravlin.
I mean, cool, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, there are technically worse things to find if it's going to be a dead check, but that's just not what anybody wanted to see. So Radio Guy will be disappointed shortly, but you can make use of a red cap. Unfortunately, there aren't too many great headpieces in this game. There are arguably 2. The other one being Cat Hood. There are some useful headpieces, but none of them that are really wows. But as far as top tier items, we wanted to have something that covered every slot. So that's why you'll see a red cap in the game. It's a hotly debated topic, and those might get shuffled around sometimes, so we may not see it in the future, or maybe we will.
Yeah, you're not upset to see a red cap, but you're not excited about it.
Unless, of course, you have a couple Valiant Knives and an offering. Then I can get excited. Of course, at that point, you're probably looking for progression anyway.
I mean, we're always looking for progression.
Yeah, and speaking of which, to remind anyone or for any new people in the chat here, we're looking to enter Kefka's Tower and beat the game. Our runners are going to have to find 11 espers, 6 characters, and defeat 1 dragon. So that's what we mean by when you hear us say progression.
And those are minimums. Depending on what characters they find, they might have to find more than 6 characters to find all of their espers. It really depends on how kind the seed is choosing to be today.
Not starting off on a great foot with a dead check, but we'll see. So Seto is checking out the Esper Cave here. And, ooh, look at that. Almost, what is it they call this? French vanilla, I believe?
Yeah, it's a squid. It's just the wrong squid. But that squid does take extra damage from fire, so that is going to be quite nice.
Realm should trounce this pretty good here. And down he goes.
Yeah. And it's another dead check.
Ouch. Force armor, certainly not bad to have, but yeah, it's not going to get you any further towards Kefka's Tower.
And truth be told, if I'm going to have dead checks, I do want them earlier rather than later, because a dead check is going to give us a high tier item. Force armor, Minerva's, it's where you can get some of the high tier weapons like Valiant Knives or Fixed Dice or Aura Lances. At the beginning, that might actually help you, start snowballing through the seed. Later on, when you're just looking to get through the seed, they become much more frustrating, at least to me.
Yeah, true. At that point, once you've made it that far, you're not going to get excited about a weapon you may already have or don't need. So you're right. And they are still gaining the experience points from killing the bosses, so it's not a total loss. But you also start to feel that feeling like, is my opponent doing these same checks and hitting these same dead ones, or did they choose a better route? And you start to feel behind the more dead checks you get.
Absolutely. And, just like any other randomizer, this is just as much a mental game as it is an execution game. If you start feeling behind, you're going to start taking bigger risks. And, those can work out for you, or you can find yourself suddenly 20 minutes behind because you took a bad wipe. Again, not that I'm bitter about that at all. Never done that.
We see Siegfried has made an appearance.
This might be the very first time I have ever seen Siegfried in this randomizer.
Oh yeah, I had a string of, I think, 5 Siegfrieds in a row one time, which is super annoying because he has a script with text and stuff in it that he does, and it just takes forever.
Rough. So Ozer's Mansion actually used to be one of the top tier checks early in the randomizer's lifetime, before we started randomizing the fixed encounters, because you knew exactly what the battles were, and it provided quite a bit of experience points for battles that weren't all that dangerous.
Yep, now that they're randomized, you have no idea.
And they're a bit of let's say a crapshoot.
So Owser's one of the checks where you can peek the reward before you do the fight. Unfortunately, you can't warp out of Owser's Mansion if you don't like it. But fortunately, this early in the seed, they're going to do it regardless because they still need everything. But you'll notice that sprite painting instead of realm was a ghost sprite, so that means it's going to be either an Esper or a high tier item.
Ouch! This is a rough fight to find here.
Yep, this probably isn't what they wanted to see early, especially with not a whole lot of offense, and I'm not sure we have any lightning mitigation. But it's not impossible. We have scaled abilities turned on, so we shouldn't be seeing any quasars come out that would most likely one-shot our whole party. But she's doing a pretty good job of it without it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but Bolt 2 is still Bolt 2, even if the enemy is only level 8. You know, there's just only so much that you can deal with there. Seto looks like he might be able to get through it a little bit better than Radio Guy. Radio Guy's dipping out, and I totally understand and respect that choice.
Yeah, this is a rough fight early. Probably one of the ones you want to see the least in the early game. But yeah, Realm not doing so hot on the damage department there. So Goddess must be rocking some good magic defense, or Seto maybe forgot to put some earrings on Realm. Not sure yet.
So Radio Guy's going to go check out Esper Mountain. This then leaves Zone Eater and God, I think the only other choice would be Kefka Narsh for the next character. So Kefka Narsh is another one of those checks that's open and available from the beginning of the game. As long as you have at least 2 characters to split into 2 parties, it is not a fan favorite check by any stretch. I mean, it's a fan favorite. We like watching our runners suffer. It is not a runner favorite.
Yeah, luckily it makes it a little easier with the 3-character start. But that long climb certainly doesn't help, and you have to climb all the way back down. So people tend to avoid it unless you start with Mog or something that's going to send you up there anyway. Looks like Sato's going to go check out Zone Eater first.
Yep, gonna get down to 1 party member, so you only have to get eaten once instead of multiple times. And we're gonna see how nice the bridge dudes are. They're never nice.
I had a seed yesterday where I think it took me, I don't know, 3 or 4 attempts because they're just awful. So hopefully Seto has, hopefully both of them have better luck than I did. But most everybody does. You'll notice that Seto changed his party and put just 1 person in, and that's so you can get engulfed quickly. You can change your battle speed around. Oh, he's got to put that Moogle Charm back. Ooh, there it is. Luckily, just a Delta bug, so hopefully it won't be too big of an issue here. But yeah, you got to remember that Moogle Charm. This can be game over with the wrong encounter.
Yep. Once again, never made that mistake myself and lost exceptional amounts of time. Never happened. So one thing you've also probably noticed as you're watching here is that we have randomized we have chosen different palettes for the game, and that does nothing except look pretty.
And sometimes ugly.
I mean, there's no accounting for taste. Very
nice.
Well done.
Nice little pattern there, but yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that can really frustrate you. Radio Guy taking an early dive. He's just checking to see what the treasure is. No problem.
And Seto did not take a save before the collapsing ceiling, which I always take. But it looks like
it looks like he's going to play it safe here and just do 1 at a time.
It is possible to gather the first 2 chests in one go, but you can run into trouble if the name of the items that you find are too long, because it takes a certain number of frames to draw each character in the name, and that can actually prevent you from getting to safety in time.
Radio Guy had no problem with the old Chancellor bot there, so that was nice. But he's going to take the safe approach to the Stompers too.
Yep, and we have found Cyan. Cyan opens up Cyan's Dream, Doma Castle in World of Balance, and then Mount Zozo. Actually, quite a valuable character. He technically has 5 spots that can give you rewards.
Yeah, one of my favorite characters in the randomizer. As far as checks go, I think he's my favorite. Because he does have, like you said, an opportunity for 5. They're all both Doma in World Balance and Mount Zozo are quick, and then Cyan's Dream is pretty dense with checks. It doesn't take long to get all 3, and there's only 2 bosses. So I think he has the best checks in the game. His stats, as far as magic use go, are pathetic. So you don't want to see something like lore on him typically. You want to see like his vanilla sword tech or a jump or throw or something you can make use of his stats. But hopefully we'll still find some a good weapon, or he I think he found Dragoon boots, so that might be an option too.
Absolutely. One thing with lore, if you find Pearlwind, that could be a good method of healing because that doesn't rely on your magic power. It only relies on your current HP.
Radio Guy taking the opportunity to do a quick grind fight before the boss in one of the soldier NPCs here at Doma. Interesting strategy.
You know, if you luck at it's very quick to get to, and B, if you luck out and it's something that's not going to take a whole bunch of time and give you some good return on your investment, it's repeatable too.
Yeah, very true. And on Seto's screen at the top of Mount Zozo, we found Setzer. 2 quick characters there. That's always nice, especially after 2 dead checks.
Setzer gives us easy access to Doomgaze. We'll just talk to the control panel on the airship for that. Also, Coligan Inn and Daryl's Tomb. And natural magic, but unfortunately a very low magic power of only 26.
Ouch. That's pretty low. As far as stats go, it doesn't get too much lower than that. Could still have some utility with natural magic. He could elect to go in and see what the character has already learned, but yeah, it's not going to do much in the damage department or probably in the healing department. So probably best to leave him on the sidelines. What was his command? Do you remember, Setzer? Oh God, yeah, just leave him.
But Sabin here has rage. Depending on what rages he has, that could become an end game strategy. If you don't need to memorize what every single rage does, but there are probably 5 to 10 that are particularly good. With the number one, my favorite being Stray Cat.
Everybody's eyes light up when they see Stray Cat on the rage list. Unfortunately, I think there's 255 of them to randomize, and so starting with it is well, you're probably not going to start with it.
It is unlikely. There could be an argument for taking off the Moogle Charm in a couple of places, just to take a couple of battles to see if you can find that Stray Cat. One of the changes we have made is that you do not need to go to the Veld and leap Gao or the rage character away to get more rages. All you need to do is beat the enemies in a battle, and you will gain that rage.
Yes, that's Radio Guy made use of a nice retort sword tech on Gogo there to take out Umara. That was pretty good. Finds the Tirado Esper with magic power +2. Very nice.
And break is not break is useful.
It's not worthless. It doesn't get a whole lot of use, but situationally, yeah, it's not bad. But the magic power +2, for those watching at home, will give that character with it equipped +2 magic power every time they level up. So if you can find that early, which we're pretty early in the seed here, it's going to be a huge boost.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of when you're racing, Esper stat boosts are nice but not required. They will help you do more damage and help buff you up. But in the end, if you don't find them, it's not like you will be unable to complete a seed. You might just have to get a few more levels to get through, because levels are the most impactful individual thing in terms of how much damage you do.
Yeah, certainly not required. It can be done, but in a race situation, finding that early is money. And now, Radio Guy's going to do Science Dream, and we should also point out that for those sword tech users, Science Dream still unlocks all of the sword techs. So if you can get all the way through it, you have instant access to Quadra Slice and Cleave.
Which, once again, can absolutely open things up. That rage list wasn't overly exciting on Sabin, but it wasn't terrible.
See the little used Barbie rage.
Hey, Storm did some decent damage. I'll take it.
Tunnel Armor probably pound for pound, and not including instant deathable bosses, I think the easiest one in the game. He's a complete pushover. Should have no problems there. And luckily, Radio Guy finds Tritok, and his main offense is fire, so that'll work out pretty well for him too. Considering that's just about the only way you can kill Tritok. Quadra Slam does not ignore defense, so that won't do any good. Quadra Slice does, but he doesn't have that yet.
Yep. But he will get that pretty soon. Getting a battle like Tritok here, that's a fairly innocuous battle, especially if you have fire magic, is going to give him some pretty decent XP and, going to catapult him forward. And right now what we're seeing is our racers are taking very different paths through the game. And that is one of my favorite parts about this randomizer, is that, either of these paths can lead you to victory. You don't have to go one place or another. And that is another magic power +2 Esper there for Radio Guy on that Crusader.
Very nice. I'd probably end up giving it to Gao. I mean, you could give it to Cyan to try to bring up his magic power to a usable, a reasonable level. That's certainly not out of the question. But lores only have a limited amount of usefulness. So anyway, having 2 magic power +2 Esper is always a good thing.
Yeah, that will never go amiss. And at this point on Radio Guy's screen, we saw that was a ghost sprite jumping around. It just means that we are not going to find a character here in Cyan's dream. It will be a combination of 3 items and or Espers.
Which, if Seto, if and when he goes and does the dream, will be pretty happy to find 3 Espers, I'm sure. Or rather, not find a character, because he's already met his character requirements.
Yep, and it is entirely possible that Radio Guy is going to find a different set of 6 characters. It just depends on how the randomization happens to play out.
Yep, there are often branching paths you can take, although sometimes you can get a railroad seed. And I think early here it's going to be one, considering this check does not have a character in it. It means he won't have any other options except to go to Mount Zozo next, and then undoubtedly he'll go to Kalingin. So probably going to see the same characters in this particular seed, but yeah, it doesn't always happen that way.
That is true. I mean, I suppose Radio Guy could choose to go to Kefket Narsh and hope there's someone up there, but that would be an interesting choice. Bold move, not one I would make, but it is an option. Looks like Seto just found the Doomgaze spot. Picking up another Esper, and what do we have here? We have Starlet. I have had a couple of seeds where Starlet or Seraphim have been my only healing in the entire seed. Possible, not fun.
Yeah, it certainly happens. I guess the one silver lining there is it can't be reflected, so you can use like wall ring strats and things that way. But in this particular seed, the randomizer does have the ability to let you summon Espers multiple times in one battle, which in vanilla you can't. But in this particular seed, we don't have that flag turned on, so yeah, they're going to be single use.
Yep, Radio Guy is finding Doom. Doom, one of the statues in Kefka's Tower, always a terrifying boss. So far we've found Doom and Goddess. All we need to find is Poltergeist, and we'll have found the trifecta.
Yep, and they're not. Everything's not all bad. That means that they won't be seeing them in Kefka's Tower when their party is split up, at the very least. And if you're going to run into a statue boss early, Doom is definitely the one you're going to run into. He's the least threatening of the 3.
Yeah, that ice 2 was not bad.
Yeah, and once you get him down to about half health, he stops casting altogether and just uses physical attacks. And it's he is going to put up reflect, so the fire 2 spell will lose its usefulness. But you can just use physical attacks or breakables. We have a flame shield that I believe has not been busted yet, so cracking that shield will give an incredibly powerful, unblockable, unreflectable, defense ignoring fire 3 spell, which will probably end Doom's life here if he chose to go that way.
Yeah, it is always a careful balancing act, particularly with the shields, because they are very good defensive items as well. So runners can be a little reluctant to break them open. On the other hand, it can just straight up win a battle for you, which is oftentimes more useful.
Definitely. Yeah, once you've taught your characters the spell that the shield grants, it certainly doesn't become useless, but its usefulness is lower. But if you want to rock like Merton strats, where then obviously you want to keep it. Otherwise, I say just break it and let's get this fight over with. Keep on trucking.
You can also mimic breakable items even if you don't have extras of them. Go will pull a flame shield out of nowhere and break it a second time.
Good point. And you can actually keep mimicking it over and over as long as you don't input any other commands, and you have, at least for one fight, infinite flame shields if you wanted to.
At this point, I would be definitely looking into that possibility here. This Doom is taking a little while. We're going to want to move on. I would start breaking that shield.
Yeah, and when he puts up his force field, I believe that means he's right around half health. So it's taken a while already. We know he's got quite a bit of HP left. This is the time to get moving. But I think he's going to go at it the old-fashioned way here, which, there are other times that shield may come in handy. So I can't blame him.
Yeah, like I said, it's a careful balancing act that, I don't have the right answer necessarily. We'll see.
Could also be that he just forgot he had it, which, happens from time to time.
That has happened to me a distressing number of times.
Always open up the menu after the fight and then see it and then think, oh, whoops.
Yeah,
But he made it through. No problems. I'll have to see how Seto handles it, because he's hot on Radio Guy's heels here. Should be an interesting. It'll be not that he's behind, but he can catch up, so to speak, in that how long it takes to do this fight potentially.
Yep. And one thing that we always need to remember at the end of Cyan's Dream, we get a reward here, but then afterwards we need to go to the throne room and get our final reward.
Never forget the throne room. Looks like I picked up another useful Esper, for at least as far as in-game is concerned, in Siren, which will mute the enemy. Dead check at the end of the dream here with some marble shoes. Not a favorite item of mine. Some people like it. But
it's one of those things, and this is true of almost any item in Final Fantasy VI and in Worlds Collide in particular. It has its uses. There are times when it is going to be, very useful and important to have, but those situations don't always come up.
Yeah, it's one of those relics where if you got nothing else, then why not throw it on? But as far as dead checks go, I'd like to see something else.
Yeah.
Although I'd take it over a Genji helmet.
Yeah, Marvel Shoes is one of those things that I do love to throw on Umaro if I have and am using the Yeti. Automatically berserked, might as well get his turns a little faster.
Yeah, if you've made the horrible decision to use the Yeti, I guess that's certainly a way to improve it.
I represent that comment.
That's true. Radio Guy is going to do his, I think this, so we haven't seen either of them peek Kefka at Narsh yet, so one opportunity for a branching path is if Radio Guy, or rather either of them, decide to just go check Kefka at Narsh to see what it is, and it happens to be a character, that could be a good potential for diversion. But my guess is we won't see it because, again, people just don't like making that climb.
Yeah, it depends on how kind the seed is. If there's a character up there and they need more checks to find enough espers, I could see that happening. We have hit a number of dead checks already. We need 6 more espers for Radio Guy. I'm trying to think if we actually even have enough checks as it is, or if we're going to need a 7th character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to need some more characters because we've been finding a lot of low check count characters. We don't have any. Did we find Saban? Yeah, we actually did. So we still got all his checks first, but that's only if all 5 of them happen to be espers. That's still not quite enough. However, we have the auction house, we have the Zen thief, so it's possible. But my guess is we'll need to find one more.
Yeah, both of them have actually already gotten the Zen thief.
Oh, they both did. Okay.
Yep.
Then yeah, my guess is we'll need to find at least one more, because it's unlikely that all 5 of Saban's checks will be espers, I would imagine.
Now, the interesting question here is, if you're Radio Guy, we're going to pick up Saban here. Do we do Daryl's tomb that's right next door or not? We now know that Daryl's tomb is Fenrir, which is one of the best espers in the entire game. But not knowing that, do you go do Daryl's tomb?
Yeah, I would. It's certainly not a long check. It's not one of the fastest ones by any stretch. It does take some running around and a little bit of setup, but it's right here. Why not check it out? And if you really don't want it, you can, reset out of it before the fight if it was something you're really not looking for. However, a lot of Saban's checks are faster, so you may just opt to go try the faster ones.
Fair. Oh, I'm being corrected by our trackers. Seto checked the thief but did not buy the esper. A little surprising considering it was only 6,000 gold, but early game money is very precious.
Yeah, and also, I know we've touched on this once or twice, but enemy scaling in this seed is based on progression. So for every character or esper you pick up, the enemies will level up by 2. So it's possible he didn't want to put that much effort into it because he was worried about the enemies being over-leveled and have a harder time killing them, and he'll just pick it up at the end real quick.
Fair. One of the good things about your enemies leveling up is that they will give you more XP. So it does become this, careful balancing act of, you want your enemies to give you enough XP to be useful, but you don't want them to be too strong that they can just kill you.
Very true. It looks like Seto is opting not for the flame shield break as well on Doom, to having a little bit of trouble dishing out the damage, employing Cyan's shall we say underwhelming magic power.
Again, there's a certain level of, we talk about stats, we talk about upping our magic power and our strength or vigor, because this game uses 2 terms for the same thing for reasons that are unclear to me. But in the end, levels are going to be the biggest impact on the damage that you do. So on the other hand, it's Aqua Rake.
I think also I saw him just make himself immune to water with that last force field, so I think it's going to do 0. Oh, okay. I guess I misread it. Unless it wore off.
I'm not sure force field wears off, but regardless, Seto makes it through. Gonna pick up his Esper, and then I assume he will go pick up the Marvel shoes as well. And then where would you be headed after this? I'd probably be checking out something of Saban's, maybe the Collapsing House, since I'm already in the World of Ruin.
Yeah, Collapsing House, good play, and it's free. Yeah, definitely that'd be the first one. And then he's got a pretty good cluster of checks in World of Balance up near the Imperial camp that you can do shortly after.
And of course, for battles going on from here, we will be seeing the higher level sword techs. And one of the best quality of life features of this game is that sword tech charges 4 times as fast as it does in vanilla.
It's about the only way to make it usable. So Radio Guy did indeed check out Daryl's tomb, and will pick himself up the Fenrir Esper after this joke of a fight. Probably not gonna work with Break though.
It does look like so our runners are neck and neck. They are, at the same counts. It's going to come down to routing choices and luck at this point. Umaro holding up the collapsing house is probably not what Seto wanted to see.
Maybe, but it definitely didn't want him as a character because he's absolutely useless, and he already has enough. But he does open up a fascinating check at the Yeti spot, which you can A, peek and find out what it is before ever going there, and B, you can couple it with the Tritok fight for another Esper, and potentially a dragon if you want. He can get his dragon requirement out of the way there, and they're all right next to each other. So there are worse things to find here for sure.
Sure, but also be nice to the Yeti. He can be very good and powerful. He's just unpredictable.
I refuse.
I mean, at the very least,
you know what? I'll give him this. He drives the hell out of that airship.
I believe this is also an equipable Umaro seed, so at the very least, you can take the snow muffler off him for one of the best pieces of armor in the game.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give him that too. Fancy coat, and is a good airship driver. Thanks, Umaro.
And now we are headed into the Imperial camp. This is one of those checks, Ravlin. You can speak the English language. That there will be a few battles afterwards, assuming it is not a dead check. If it's just an item, you're going to get it right here. If it's not, you are going to fight 3 battles, I believe.
Correct.
And those 3 battles can, give you that XP boost that we're looking for, because none of our runners are at a level where I'd be comfortable going into Kafka's Tower yet.
Like Seto just picked up his stray Esper from the thief, excuse me, opting for the more expensive World of Ruin location, presumably to save time.
Time is money, right?
Or is money time?
I mean, the equal sign implies that they're both. Time equals money, money equals time. It goes both ways. So with a Kappa here, we do know that it is going to be an Esper. But these bosses definitely don't look too annoying. Enemies.
Oh, geez, my dogs are going ham. 1 second.
To answer a question in the chat, so Drew, you are not the only one who sees a Mirage Vest and gets excited. Mirage Vest does put on the image status, so you will avoid physical attacks. Can be very, very useful for the final Kefka fight, because that image status regens each tier. But the downside is that you might not still have it by the time Calmness comes out, which is the number one thing you're going to be using that image status for, is to avoid Calmness at the end of Tier 3.
Yeah, its other stats as an armor are also pretty terrible, so it won't do you any favors for, for magic damage. So it certainly is useful. I don't dislike seeing it, but excited about it? Eh.
This landworm is not long for this world.
Yeah, but I would take that Mirage Vest over anything not named Minerva, Snow Muffler, Behemoth Suit, or Genji Armor. Maybe Red Jacket. It's probably at the number 5 spot.
What about Force Armor? Force Armor is pretty good too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Very nice. Radio Guy picks up Golem. We have now found Golem and Fenrir, the two best defensive espers in the entire game. With those two espers, I don't even care what spells they could have a blank spell list and I would still use them.
Yeah, they absolutely grant you the most utility for sure. And there are not many useful offensive espers in the game. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much just Bahamut. The rest of them are underwhelming, to say the least. They're mostly in vanilla used situationally, like in the story they'll provide you some good offense, but you're always pretty underleveled there, so they just don't scale well in the randomizer, and they're mainly used to teach you spells. So they don't see a whole lot of use, but there are plenty of utilitarian espers available.
All right, Radio Guy has found Doomgaze flying around the...
No.
Oh, that's awful.
Luckily, this is a very fast check. He just saved right before he went in, so there's not a big time loss, and he can just go, to the train or somewhere else, get up some levels. He could choose to grind a fight or two if he wanted, just to get out of the level multiple of 5 range, but I would just go head up to another check. It kind of sucks, but it's really not a big loss.
It's just a little humorous that you just happen to hit, Doomgaze at a multiple of 5 with everybody.
I think I'm a multiple of 5 every time I meet Doomgaze personally.
Yeah, that seems about right. That tracks. Interesting, going to Mount Colts before checking the Phantom Train. I think I would have checked the Phantom Train just because you can head to the caboose, see what the reward is, and decide if you want it. Whereas by the time you get and defeat the boss here at Mount Colts, you're going to get what you're going to get.
Yep, though we're still looking for plenty of stuff, so probably going to do it in either way. But yeah, a lot of people avoid that Phantom Train check because it is fairly long. It's not one of the longest checks in the game, but it does have a fixed fight. Has a lot of NPCs to get around, so it's a little bit of an annoyance. But you're right, you can see exactly what you're getting.
The real check on the real trick on the Phantom Train is to just stay outside of the cars as much as possible. Don't go in. You're not dealing with the ghosts blocking your way. You're not tempted to do chests that you don't really need.
That's true. It doesn't take long. If you skip everything, it's really just one fixed fight, and then it does have a little cutscene in the middle of it too. So certainly not quick, but Inferno probably not what Radio Guy wanted to see here either, as a lot of his offense is fire magic. But hopefully shouldn't be too much of a problem.
I mean, is Inferno ever what you want to see?
I guess you don't want to see it. It's certainly not a pushover, and his HP totals are not looking all that great. But I think you could try a Crusader cast, see how far that gets you.
I would recommend against that.
Didn't get that Cure 2 cast off in time. Gal's taking a dirt nap.
Oof.
Yeah, they're gonna need to find some better offensive options somewhere in the seed, because tier 2 spells and sword tech are not going to get you too far. It can be done, but it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while, and you're going to want to level up more than you would otherwise normally, even just for the HP and the MP buffer. Because if you're going to be casting Fire 2 50 times, you're going to need the magic to do it.
Yeah, true. People pointing out in the chat that the stunner the stunner sword tech is actually pretty good, and that's true. And he does have the magic power +2 Esper stunner, one of the few sword techs that is based on magic power, which is why in the vanilla game it's next to useless. It takes a long time to get there, and Cyan's magic power is so poor that it often doesn't do anything. But you can pump it up to do some great damage in this game, and it automatically casts stop on everything that hits. Well, a chance to stop anyway. So it's a good one to have for sure.
And that is one of the many strategies that often escapes my mind because I think of sword tech as being a physical ability when in all reality it does have this powerful magic attack that I often completely forget.
Yeah, if you can get sword tech on Realm, that's it's a good opportunity to still throw on some earrings and that magic power Esper, and then it gets really beefy. And it's also non-elemental, so it works on things like Tritok and other bosses that you can't use elemental magic on.
Yeah. Inferno does go down. Let's see what this reward is going to be. And Seto is checking that Phantom Train for us. That is a Ragnarok. The second best sword in the game. Oh, Seto finds a Strago and opts to leave out of that. He does
Yeah,
not want to take an old man along.
I support this decision. Mostly because he doesn't need another character to get into the tower, but also Strago's checks are all pretty painful. They're slow and they're not terribly fun. So, yeah, keep looking.
If it was Celis or Terra, I might have taken them just because they have some pretty quick checks.
Yeah, I think I definitely would at this point. If we still need 3 more Espers, and we're running out of checks here. So, depending on what the last check or two is, I mean, I would definitely at least come back to the train if you needed to. Let's see how Seto handles Doomgaze here. Unscathed. Very nice. Although he will still be casting his usual Doom along the way, so we'll have to see if he can make it through, but luckily fireworks.
Yep, and both of our runners in the same battle at the same time. I think. Oh, I guess Realm gained a level along the way. I thought she didn't because she was dead at the end of that Inferno fight.
Good point.
Gao is really starting to come into his own with that Quadra Slice. Already doing 1,000 damage a hit. The more levels we get, the better that's going to be.
Yep, it's going to need another 10 levels and it'll be all right.
Yep. And seeing our first use of the spell Quick, just to get a couple of Fire 2s in there. Not the most exciting use of Quick. We don't have a gem box, we don't have an economizer, but hey, it's free damage.
Yep, and can't counter it, or can't counter the first cast anyway. So it's I would guess Realm is probably his highest damage output person at this point in time. So if that's who he used Quick with, although I'm starting to think it might have been Cyan, which is not a good use.
It was with Realm just to get those 2 Fire 2s. In the end, I actually think Gao might be the better choice right now if Gao has it, just because those Quadra Slices are doing about 4K per turn.
Yep, not exactly a fast attack, though, with the charge up and then the animation. So I'm curious, I would want to know what the DPS there is between the two. It's probably minute, but, frames.
Save the frames, kill the animals?
Yeah, sure. Kill the Yetis.
I am sick and tired of your Yeti hate.
Save the frames, kill the Yetis. Say it with me, chat.
Lord almighty. What the Moogle am I going to do with you?
I have no idea.
There we go. Radio Guy does make it through. He started the fight later, but finished it earlier. That does mean that Radio Guy's offense is a little bit higher, but Seto has an extra Esper on him. So it's going to depend on if that extra offense is going to be enough for Radio Guy to pull ahead.
We are pretty much step for step here. Almost in sync. Although Seto does hold the numbers advantage here.
I'm betting that it's going to be a Mog or something equally as useless.
Well, at least then, if it was a Mog, we might get to see what's up Kefagit Narsh I've been wondering this whole time. But nope, it's another dead check.
It was a behemoth suit. I actually think the behemoth suit is probably more useful than Mog at this point, and I say this as a Moogle lover.
Eh. Oh, what checks do we even have left?
That's a really valid question.
I think they may have to go get Strago.
Phantom Train, Esper Mountain.
So Mount Colts has been done. So, Mount Colts was done by Radio Guy anyway, and we know it was not a character, I should say. I don't believe Seto has done it yet, but we have Kefka Narsh. I can't recall any other checks.
Yeah, no, looking at our tracking sheet, I think the actual play here is going to be to take Strago.
Yeah. Oh, Radio Guy's not going to do it. Oh,
No.
Okay. He's going to go through it without the character to not advance the boss, maybe? Seems
Also,
that way.
Just checking the shop. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be worried about that. I think he might just be wanting to avoid the menuing right now.
Perhaps. But, it's actually just a quick A and B. Because you're not going to probably not going to bring him along.
Look, I'm looking for a reason here.
Oh yeah, Keith in the chat reminded us we still have the Yeti Cave to do. So yeah, that's actually where I'd be going right now, to do Tritalk and the Yeti Cave and maybe get that dragon in.
Tritalk, Yeti Cave. If those are two espers, then heading to the auction house to get the last one.
Yep.
If Tritalk or the Yeti Cave don't have one of those doesn't have an esper, then you can hope that the auction house has two.
It's going to be real interesting to see if these checks are both dead. Then we know Strago is 100% required. Well, sorry, not 100%. If Kefka Narsh happens to be another character, then Strago's not required at all. But now I kind of want them to be dead just to see what Kefka Narsh is.
And also, we want to see our runners suffer. Because at this point, if my choices are like taking Strago or like going up to the Yeti Cave, I'm thinking that I'm feeling behind. I'm making the choice to grab Strago, which means I'm going to go I'm going to go look at his checks. I'm feeling behind.
100%. I can't. Radio Guy can't feel good about this just yet. Sato's going to go try his hand at a dragon here. Probably. Oh, it's the ice dragon, so I think he's in good shape here. It's one of the weaker dragons. He's got fire damage. So yeah, this should work out pretty well.
Ooh,
Strago checks aren't even bad. Drew with another one of his patented Drew with hot takes. Don't feed the trolls, kids.
Seto showing off a really cool strat here on this dragon. That dragon is muddleable. When you are a little bit lower level than you would be normally taking on these dragons, taking advantage of something like that where, the dragon's going to attack itself and not you, really showing off some game knowledge here.
Surprising that this damage isn't doing as much. He's got he must have the magic power 2 Esper on Gao, because it seems like Gao is putting out the most damage here. Now, obviously, maybe not be obvious to people at home, but Gogo cannot equip Espers, so his damage will remain low and pathetic. Okay, no, Realm's dishing it. She's good. But yeah, Gogo. The reason I don't like Gogo, or at least I don't like bringing Gogo along past level 20 or so, is his damage just does not scale well. Unless you have like an experience egg to really crank his levels, he's just very underwhelming.
So takes out the dragon, gets the XP, gets the magic points from it, and gets a cat hood. The best hat in the game.
Yeah, I like it. If you're gonna get an item from a dragon that's not an Illumina or a Ragnarok, cat hood's a pretty good one to get.
Ooh, Strago does have natural magic. We'll see if that's going to be a worthwhile pickup here for Radio Guy. Break, Pearl, Quake,
Great.
not terrible. Not the best though. Seto going to
Seto is. I guess he doesn't know, but leader is cleavable, so you can kill him in one shot, but it's not like he's going to have any. And down he goes. Vulnerable to instant death in any form, but is also really, really weak, so you can just kill him the old-fashioned way.
Hey,
so try talk at the try talk spot. Sorry, Rav.
Yeah, no, I was about to say the same thing. Vanilla try talk.
Imagine if they fought try talk there.
Is this even randomized?
But yeah, most of the espers have been underwhelming this seed. Not a lot of good magic at all. We've got some nice, couple nice bonuses, but as far as learning any sort of offense, it's pretty sparse.
Well, Tritalk has Merton.
Oh, that's a good one if you can find some protection from fire and or wind. But haven't seen a whole lot of that yet either. Seen one flame shield, and I think that's been about it.
So Seto is now really hoping that this Umaru's Cave is another Esper. Otherwise, Radio Guy's sort of long shot play of grabbing Strago and going into Ebot's Rock might pay off.
Yep, it'll be. Yeah, I might have gone up to World of Balance Narsh and peeked this, and then done Kefkut Narsh if it wasn't. But he got lucky, and it is indeed a Magicite. So Radio Guy's play not going to pay off in terms of the quick routing, but it might still yield some maybe useful Esper.
Possibly. I mean, if he can avoid doing Umaro's Cave and what might end up being a very long Piranha fight, because that is, 30 to 90 seconds?
Actually, yeah, I think it's... Now I forgot. I think it's 30 minutes to 2 minutes? 30 seconds to 2 minutes? Something like that? Or what? No, it was 110? I can't remember now. I just think all of them are about 6 minutes long.
But we do find the spicy chicken here. Radio Guy has found Poltergeist. That does mean we do know where all three of the Kefka statues are. But in the chat right now, I am showing off the Worlds Collide Twitch's first emote of our spicy chicken.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, go follow our official Twitch channel at twitch.tv/FF6 Worlds Collide. And you should come check out our Discord if you like what you see and you want to learn how to play the game. We'll help you get started. You can there are lots of handy guides, helpful people. Go to ff6wc.com.
Absolutely. And also want to use this moment to shout out SpeedGaming for having us on one of their channels. We do really appreciate that. We love getting our game out to show it off to other people. And also to It's Naku and Ceiling Cat for doing tracking for us, which I really appreciate. And I promise I've used the spreadsheet to actually look at things this time.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that part. But somebody earlier in the chat wanted to or mention that the stunner sword tech always stopped things that could be stopped. Well, it doesn't. There's a chance. And usually works on Poltergeist here, but Radio Guy's not having the best luck with getting it to stick.
Ooh. Strago taking a nap there. That Pearl cast did do pretty well, but, old man... just deciding to old man at us and take a nap.
And went to bed right before the end of the fight, so he won't get that XP, which is unfortunate, because it's going to be a lot. Relatively a lot, anyway. Ooh, and he gets that Aura Lance he can use with the jumper, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Tragic.
That's just bad luck.
Yeah, at this point, I think this really becomes Seto's race to lose. And don't get me wrong, it can still happen. I have seen people get all the way up to, Final Kefka and eat an ultimate counter and end up, losing the race. But Seto is well on track right now. And stopping off at Vector. Was there something in the shops that were memorable?
Vector? I don't know that we've been in Vector yet. I mean, maybe just looking for stuff.
Possibly looking for fire absorption to try to get those Merton strats online. Merton is a battlefield-wide, hits enemies and allies fire and wind attack at a very, very high magic power. So if you can find a way to mitigate it, or even better, get it to heal you and damage the enemy, very, very powerful. Looks like he is about to sell the farm here. Is he going to use it to buy the red jacket that's in here, or is he going to set himself up for the auction house? I do think Radio Guy, though, is going to give us a peek at this Kefka at Narsh.
Right. Is he's in World of Balance? Sorry, I was I'm having a discussion with somebody in chat. Not a character. But still could be the Esper. You're already up here. You might as well get it done. I don't know why he's just opting to walk all the way back down.
At this point, I'm probably feeling pretty behind. If I'm not confident, because if that's a boss I can't handle, then it would be so much sunk time.
You got to think he can handle any boss they throw at him now. He's taken out the 3 statues, Doomgaze, Inferno. I mean, the only one left is Magimaster, and he's got some like Quadra-Slice and stuff to work through it. So if you climb all the way up there and you need Espers and you see it's not a character, I would certainly still try the fight. But then again, he might have another strategy in mind. I think the only play left he's got left is to go up to Tritok and the Yeti Cave.
I don't think he ever picked up the Yeti, though. Did he?
I think he did. He was at Owser's, I want to say.
Maybe. Yeti was at Collapsing House.
Oh, Collapsing House. Oh, he had to have done that one.
Nope, not yet.
What? Well, he's got 7 characters. What character does he have that Seto doesn't?
Strago.
I guess I could pull out the tracking sheet here, but
he took the old man.
Oh, true. Yeah, he did. All right, so yeah, Collapsing House is where I'd be heading next.
I actually just missed where Seto went. So Radio Guy gonna commit to the Fanatics Tower play. Mad respect for doing it. I usually only do it if it's going to be a character that I need.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know. Maybe he just missed Collapsing House on his tracker. Maybe he mismarked it. It's hard to tell without being able to see what tracker he's working with. But yeah, there are definitely a couple faster checks he could be doing. Although he did have Ebbett's Rock already. Burning House is certainly slower, and he does have some magic output here, so it shouldn't take all that long. It's just such an annoying climb. Welcome in, Raiders. Thanks, Victa, for the raid there. Welcome everybody to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. Although if you just came from Victa's channel, you probably know what you're watching. But we're in round 4 of our Coliseum tournament for Worlds Collide. RadioGuyPDX versus Seto Kiaba. And right now, Seto has the advantage. Has just gotten luckier with his checks, while Radio Guy is still searching for these last few Espers. Although Seto still has 1 to go. But recently acquired Merton strats.
Oh, Radio Guy trying that dragon, and it is the Fire Dragon, which we don't have a lot of non-fire offense here.
Yeah, that's not the one you want to see when your only spell is Fire 2.
I mean, Strago does have Pearl, and we do have Ice 1, which isn't nothing.
It does have the Berserk spell. Although his He does. Oh, yeah, is he the one who picked up a He picked up a Ragnarok, right? So if he can actually land the spell and doesn't dodge it himself, that'll be pretty useful.
I think he was tempted almost there to cast Crusader for a moment.
Might have thought about it. I wouldn't recommend it.
I will never forget the time that I used a Magicite in desperation, got Crusader, killed the boss, and died myself and still lost the fight.
Oh, yeah. You hate to see it.
Gives the Muddle a shot, and it does work out. Well, except for the fact that he has a Berserk Cyan.
Yeah, that's not going to help with his muddle status, but hopefully the dragon will take his turn first. But it turns out, I've been informed in the chat that Strago is the one with the Ragnarok equipped. I think Cyan might have had like a Skyrender or something, so it's still putting out a little bit of damage there.
Absolutely. I think Seto just ate a Grand Train cast here.
Nice. If he's rocking that lore character, who I forget, I think it's Cyan who has lore and has Grand Train now. Oh, somebody in chat asked, what's Crusader's attack? It's basically just kill everything on the screen, including you.
It's no good.
Ooh, ouch. Radio Guy ate a level flare, I think. And happened to have two characters that level, so that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, he's still making his way through it. Cyan is actually putting out some pretty decent damage here. I think he's going to be able to get through the fight. It's just taken some time, and he needs the reward here to be... He needs an Illumina from this dragon, I think.
Big time. Curious why, I guess Seto's just maybe grinding some levels here at on Mount Colts. There are a couple quicker ways to get some late levels, but maybe I guess maybe he's trying to get more Mertens on more people. That's what he's doing. But I think the better way is to probably just go hit up that auction or Opera House dragon and get you some beefy XP. Well, okay, he wanted the cast before the boss fight. I see what's happening now.
Yeah, reasonable choice. Again, one of the great things about this game is that there are lots of different viable strategies. You are not locked into, X is the absolute best in every situation.
Yeah, especially when you spend that time grinding up for a fire spell and then hit Inferno.
Yeah,
Whoops.
So, Radio Guy picks up fixed dice off of the dragon here. So, interestingly enough, fixed dice is actually a pretty good spear for using your Dragoon boots with.
Yeah, at this point, he's got little other offense to work with, so I don't hate the play, but using some dragon dice. Also, we've got a raid incoming from SpeedGaming 4. Welcome in, raiders. This is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, our open world randomizer of Final Fantasy VI. We are in the middle of a 1v1 tournament called the Coliseum between Radio Guy and Seto here. Welcome in, grab a beverage and take a look. Oh, interestingly, we picked up an offering now, which we can actually pair with that. We could pair with the fixed dice we just found if you want to eliminate the jump strats, perhaps, to get some multiple rolls. It's certainly not the quickest strategy, but again, he's really not working with a lot of offense here, so might be preferable.
Yeah. And the reason Seto does not have a Grand Train is that he did not complete that fight. He actually ran away. You only learn spells when it's, announcing how much XP and MP and stuff that you got. So if you don't get to that completed battle screen, you don't get the spell.
Yeah, I didn't notice he ran away. Yeah, that won't get it for you. And that would actually be probably a pretty decent spell to have right now. I'm not sure what he's using for offense on Cyan, but then again, if you're learning Merton, you probably don't need Grand Train. But Grand Train's non-elemental, so it can certainly help in situations just like this one.
Yep. So we do have the Ghost Train here, and while in vanilla you can just throw a Phoenix down at it, we have it set up here that all of the bosses who are undead are no longer vulnerable to the Phoenix Down or Elixir strats. We want you to actually fight the bosses. I know, we're such killjoys.
You gotta do it the hard way. But in this particular fight, the Ghost Train actually is vulnerable to instant death other than the undead specific one. So you can cast Doom or X-Zone, or you could cleave him, actually, which I think we have.
I think that was just a Fire 2 cast. Phantom Train at the best of times does not have a lot of HP.
Nah, it's pretty much a pushover. The only thing you worry about with Phantom Train, if your abilities aren't scaled to something ridiculous, is an Evil Toot, which can usually just an annoyance, make things take longer.
And that is actually one really good reason not to use Cleave on Phantom Train, because if they do muddle that particular character, they will then cleave your party for a wipe.
Yeah. Although Grimo did point out we're in the Fanatics Tower here, so you can't use Sword Tech anyway. So wouldn't work here. It would work anywhere else in the game.
Yeah. And Seto is not lucky getting some cards here from the auction house, not the glowing stone that he is looking for.
Yep. Unfortunately, hitting that doesn't have the Zelfer luck today. Those of you who know, you know. But still in a sizable advantage here. Just has to buy everything in the auction house and can get that last Esper before Radio Guy's going to have a chance to get 4 more, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I've seen the auction house be trolly, but I've never seen it be that trolly.
Like 5 imps in a row one time, but yeah, he's good.
Yep. Shiva coming up in the cheap slot. But let's see what Radio Guy does find here at the Fanatics Tower. It is at least an Esper, that Radio Guy needed.
So Seto has picked up his last Esper, and he is now officially in go mode. He can choose to go load up on another dragon or something before heading into the tower for a little more levels and offense. However, with the number of dead checks they've hit, they're probably feeling some pressure right now and may opt to just go.
Yeah, I would be headed straight into the tower. Oh, Radio Guy's not going to enjoy seeing the Yeti here. Oof.
I think at this point he knows he's got to do it because I think he's out of checks.
Yep. Which
luckily it'll send him to the last location he needs, and that will put him in close to go mode anyway. Then he'll have to hit up the auction house for the last one. So he's a good 5 to 10 minutes behind at the moment, but depending on what that Esper, did you see what was on the Esper he picked up at the Fanatics Tower?
I don't recall anything particularly notable.
Well, that's a bummer. A nice tier 3 spell would have helped even the odds here.
Yep. Now Kefka's Tower can still be an epic troll, depending on what bosses are here. Because your parties are broken up, it's easy to get overconfident and be like, "Oh, my party can handle anything." Well, yeah, my full party of 4 can, but Gao on his own might have some struggles.
And yep, Seto opted to just go straight into the tower, feeling the pressure. His levels aren't bad. This is certainly it's a winnable tower. But oftentimes you'll find that a quick dragon fight may give you, like, the damage boost may be worth the time spent killing the dragon just to get that boost.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I do believe that's what cost me my last race. I was behind my opponent by about 4 or 5 minutes, and I think it was because I took an extra dragon that I didn't, strictly speaking, need.
Yeah, it's certainly not a foolproof strategy. Radio Guy still had the Search the Skies option to do that instant Doomgaze fight, so it'll take a little while. Luckily, he's got fire damage for this. Oh no, he forgot to get MP. He's got fire damage for this fight, which is good, and Pearl, which also works, although you need MP to cast Pearl. I forget. Was to the tracking sheet. Was this an Esper or dead? This was an Esper. So that'll be good.
Starlight.
And then, yeah, and then he can just head to the Yeti spot, and he'll be in go mode.
Yep. I mean, or he could make the questionable choice of going to the burning house, although I doubt anyone would do that right now.
I really hope not. That option does exist. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I am a little curious as to why he hasn't put the offering on to Cyan with that fixed dice. Like, if you're going to go with the fixed dice, go with the fixed dice.
Yeah, it might have. He's going to try the auction house for his last 2 Espers here. Not a terrible play. If he's really lucky, he can get them faster than any other way. And his levels look pretty good, so he doesn't necessarily need another dragon. But yeah, he could be thinking offering fixed dice takes a long time, which it does. But he could use a boost to his offensive output here. So I probably would. Maybe he just forgot. Who knows?
Yep. Seto takes down Guardian. Guardian is not long for this world with Realm and Gogo going ham on it. So typically in Kefka's Tower, you send your most powerful party as your third party because you can set it up that they face the most bosses. They have the Inferno fight, and then they can hit the Guardian spot and the Poltergeist spot. But if you're not careful, you can end up in a situation where, you know, one of your off parties has to fight the most powerful boss in the tower. So, you know, it's a tough call, and you know, you have to make the best decision you can and play the odds. But sometimes, you know, you hit a Magimaster with a party that just can't handle it.
Yep, it does happen. Luckily, you do have the option to warp out and start over. You don't have to, reset to an old save or anything. But every time you do that, it takes up a lot of time. Radio Guy just hit the Zelfer luck on glowing stone number 1 here, so that's nice. And we do have another one available. He's going to go out and save and try it again. And if he can get into Kefka's Tower here within the next couple minutes, he's still in striking range.
Yeah, I mean, all Radio Guy really needs is Seto to, you know, have a hard fight, take a wipe somewhere, which is still very, very possible. You know, it's not as likely as it could be based on, you know, how powerful Seto is right now.
And
But
also, we've seen most of the dangerous bosses already. I can't imagine he'll have too tough a time, but Magimaster's still out there, and at this level, the Stooges could present a problem for a solo party. Outside of that, I don't see a whole lot. Maybe an Atma. If he runs into an Atma, that could be potentially dangerous.
I think the sleeper boss that's might be the most dangerous here is actually Air Force.
Yeah, there are ways to make Air Force cute and cuddly. Doesn't have a lot of HP either, although we don't have too many. Oh, Ifrit's an interesting one. Oh, he's got sword tech luckily in this party, so he lucked out there because I don't think he was working with any ice magic.
He has Ice One.
Oh, okay, my mistake. Oh look, Radio Guy got
Oh my god!
He'll be headed there pretty soon too.
Ice One just did 4,000 damage.
Oh, that's the murder child living up to her name. All right, I honestly don't believe I've ever seen that. But that's what happens when you start with, what was it, 42 or something magic power?
50. It was 50.
Oh, 50. Oh, excuse me, 50. And then keep a magic power +2 Esper on her the whole game. That's kind of nuts.
That is by far the biggest tier 1 spellcast I have ever seen. Wow. But, you know, Radio Guy is now in go mode as well, showing us, only a few minutes behind, taking a pretty radically different path than Seto did. Going down the Strega route, not going down the Yeti route. So, once again, seeing that that different routes can be almost equally as viable in this randomizer, which is something that I do really enjoy. It's not like everybody has to go do these particular checks to find go mode.
Hey, speaking of Magimaster,
Yeah, once again, GoGo has the Quadra Slice available. We're gonna have to see if Radio Guy sets up well for this eventuality, making sure that they've got some non-elemental damage in the third party.
yep, that's going to be key. Or a Berserk spell, which I know we have on one character. I forget who has it, or at least one character. Berserk makes this virtually a free fight. It's all going to come down to luck here. Gogo's damage output not great. And Magimaster has a pretty decent amount of HP, so this could take a little while, but it shouldn't present any major problems.
Yeah. I think at this point it's going to come down to damage output on who is able to do more damage faster. Although, if Magimaster's already going down, Radio Guy needs a little bit of a miracle here, but it is certainly not outside the realm of possibility. I have seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, that was pretty quick, and it was good thinking with the turn 1 Merton there on Magimaster, because on first turn you can hit him with anything and it'll do damage. He doesn't change his wall until after you damage him once, so good play there.
So, Realm and Gogo are done with their journey. Let's see what Gao fights here, because again, when you have only got one good character fighting a boss, it can get rough, although Niles and Frazier are not that terrifying.
The Crane Boys, I get it. I haven't heard that one before, but I really like it. But they can once scaling gets up there, they can present some problems, especially when you're working with Merton, which one Crane is going to absorb. But they have that Iron Ball attack, which can do some massive damage, and then with the scaled abilities, they can start throwing out things like flare stars and all kinds of cool stuff. So I don't foresee it being a problem at this point. But in some seeds, they can be quite the headache.
Yeah,
actually pretty weak HP in this one here. I think they went down in one hit each.
Yep, and that's totally acceptable. I'm fine with the Cranes going away, because they were always a terrifying boss in vanilla, at least for me as a kid.
Oh yeah. All right, so Radio Guy up in it now. See how he handles his first couple bosses here. And a reminder to those watching at home, this is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, the Final Fantasy VI Open World Randomizer. You can find us at ff6wc.com or check out our official Twitch channel at twitch.tv/ff6 Worlds Collide. This is the Coliseum bracket-style tournament in our 1v1 series. We're right in the middle of the tournament here. Got about 3 or 4 weeks left to go. You can follow along in the bracket, which I'm pasting in the chat now. And you should come and join our Discord if you're interested in running a seed, playing the game, finding out how everything works. We've got lots of useful guides and helpful people on the Discord to help get you started. Come check it out.
Absolutely. We love to see new people. We love to help new people out, figure out, how to get through a seed, how to, plan for the eventualities of how you're going to deal with things. I will also say Seto Kiaba is one of the newer players in this particular tournament, and it is very exciting to me to see newer players doing well in tournaments.
It's great. Oftentimes newer players know some strategies that older players have gotten stuck, or rather, they've gotten stuck in their ways and don't know or have long forgotten about some stuff. So it opens up new and fun things. Dullahan going down on Seto's screen there with Cyan making use of a Merton, which you don't see every day. But he's putting it out. I assume he has. I assume he had a Magic Power plus Esper on Cyan there, because his starting Magic Power is quite pathetic. I believe it's the worst in the game.
It is. Cyan can't handle machinery, can't handle magic. It's tough to be him.
But yeah, he's through. I think he's, depending on which fork he went to first, I believe he's ready for the final fight. And at level 42, he's rather he's got some 44s and 45s in there, so his levels are in pretty good shape. His gear, not the best I've ever seen, but Merton will get him through quite a bit. So we'll see how he handles it once we get to tier 3. See how well he can eat those Meteo counters. I think that's probably going to be the only trouble he has, unless of course something goes completely awry in tier 1 or 2.
Which is possible.
Certainly possible.
But I definitely do expect to see both runners at least in the final Kefka fight at the same time, on separate tiers. But still, after an hour and 41 minutes, seeing our runners still this close, I think speaks well to the skill of both runners.
Yeah, it was really just some unfortunate routing, some bad luck for Radio Guy. Quite a few dead checks in this seed. He was a little unkind in the check department, and not all that kind in the offense department. So hard to fault either runner for the choices they made. Sometimes just rando's going to rando.
Yep, and that's why we actually play the tournaments, because it's what I call the any given Sunday effect. Doesn't matter how good or bad the runner is. It's how you show up on that day.
Oof. Gao eating a flare star, but he's putting that ice 1 to work. Still did a nice 2,500 damage. Here comes an S cross. Hopefully Strago has some sort of fire mitigation. At least ate it.
So what we have here, Seto is exploiting the fact that the head on tier 1 is vulnerable to fire. So a couple of fire 2s, and then that Merton is going to do quite a bit here. Although, while that's going on, Radio Guy is Ifrit is giving him a little bit of the what fors.
The business. Yeah, he's struggling a little bit. I might just go for it at this point and load up another sword tech here just to get through this fight, because Ifrit has these multi-target high-powered moves that he's bringing out here, like this Death Cross that's coming up. You may just have to push through. But yeah, on Seto's screen, you want to take down the head first, or at least not last. Otherwise, if you kill it last, it will outcome the quakes, and it's bad news. So he's just softening up the head a little before the Mertens come out, but he should be good now. He's probably going to eat some counters some shockwave counters here. Yeah, not they come. But those are usually pretty manageable.
Especially if you block half of them.
Must be nice.
All right. Tier 2 is another place in Kefka's Tower where you can definitely throw out some knowledge here. Magic, the back target here, can be muted. Tools, the one behind the blue guy or next to the girl in the red dress, is vulnerable to instant death. Tiger is particularly weak to ice magic, so you can take advantage of all of this knowledge to, attempt to make the fight a little bit easier. Muting magic and instant killing tools is super useful.
For sure. And hit the guy on the right. Oh, I don't know. Sorry if you said already. I was watching Radio Guy. But hit on the right is susceptible to stop. You can basically take him out of the fight until he dies as well. It won't stop the 10-hit death counter, but unfortunately, Tiger is not really susceptible to any status of ailment except for poison, which can do some decent damage, but if you're wasting a turn casting poison, I think you're in bad shape anyway. Vulnerable to ice, too, so the Mertens, I mean, it doesn't really matter with Mertens since that spell power is enormous, but weak to ice.
Yep. If you've got all of the tools available to you, Tier 2 does have a lot of things that can mitigate the fight. And if you don't have all of those tools available to you and you are just trying to take this out, without muting magic, without instant killing tools, it can actually be a rough fight. They do a lot of nasty, nasty effects. And one thing we do is we do not scale the final battles. These are final battles as they are in vanilla in all of their level 60 to 70 glory.
72 or something like that, I think. Yeah, and a lot of them have some they're not officially combo attacks, but they work in conjunction to really screw you. Like you can get quartered by magic and then 10 hit by hit, and all of a sudden you've wiped. Or magic can cast life 3, and you have to kill things multiple times. And Tiger there's zombies and freezes, and there's a whole lot of stuff that can happen if you're not careful.
Yeah, so Tier 3 is the tier that most runners are worried about and planning for throughout their run to try to find a way to mitigate the calmness attack from sleep. But if you're not careful, Tier 2 can wreck your day.
Yep, but Seto's making a pretty good showing of it here, having a little issue and actually making it through here pretty quickly. So hopefully nothing goes haywire in the final 2 tiers, and he'll be right on through. But Radio Guy not giving up. Yeah, and unfortunately, not that he didn't make it through it just fine, but yeah, his Berserk spell was on another party, so he couldn't utilize it for Magimaster. But we'll see how it does against the the Fraser and Niles.
Absolutely. Seto is now making his way up to Tier 3. Tier 3, only has 2 targets. Girl can, she does absorb every element in the game. So you need to have some form of non-elemental damage to deal with her. So Merton will not do. Sleep, on the other hand, when he dies, he will counterattack with either 0-1 or 2 calmness attacks, which is an instant death physical attack. So things like memento rings and safety bits will not save you here. You need to kill Girl first, otherwise she will life to Sleep, and that is just the worst feeling in the world.
Bad.
So Seto does have sword tech, and he does have Golem and Fenrir available to help mitigate the calmness attack. Both of those will block it. So at this point, it's a matter of just making, getting Girl dead. And the disadvantage of things like Quadra Slice is you can't target them, so it is possible, although rather unlikely, to kill Sleep by accident first.
Yeah, you have to tear through about 40,000 HP, so yeah, unlikely, but it could happen. The main thing they're going to want to be careful for is not doing enough spike damage and triggering a lot of counterattacks, and those counterattacks become Meteos, and then his turn becomes Meteos, and you can get Meteoed all day long, and it's an inaccurate spell, but it's damage heavy, so it can go haywire pretty quick.
Yeah, his turn Meteo into a Meteo counter into a third Meteo in a row can wreck the most well-prepared team. Because even with your most powerful magic defensive equipment on, Meteo is still going to do 1,800 damage, give or take, per person. And if almost anyone gets hit with that 3 times, they're going to take a nap.
All right, so down goes Girl. hope he was counting how much damage sleep took. Has he put up Golem or Fenrir yet? Oh,
putting it
speak
up
of the
now.
devil.
So Golem has a shield of, I believe it's going to be 3,000 HP here, because that's how much HP Realm had. And that will block physical attacks. The good news about Calmness is Calmness does 0 damage. So
And he just murdered himself.
Yep, the Calmness will not take down Golem. And, you know, sometimes Sleep likes to give us a little hand.
All right, Radio Guy is going in. So you were right. We're going to see both of our runners in the final cap fight at the same time, just on different tiers. Let's see how Radio Guy can make it through. It's looking really good for Seto. I don't foresee any big issues as long as he can manage final Kefka well. You know, he should be our winner tonight, but it's not over yet.
You know, it is not over until the crazy clown stops laughing. You know, I have seen, you know, Fallen One into Ultima counters if you know, happen to do lots of damage very quickly. You know, it is possible, although both of our runners should have the Mega Elixir from Magimaster to help deal with that. And it looks like Seto's stream has frozen on us, so hopefully we're going to see what's happening soon.
Yeah, this will be anticlimactic if it goes out now. We're kind of back.
Looks good to me.
Right.
So Final Kefka really is just an exercise in counting up damage. He won't do Ultima counters until he's, I believe it's below 10,000 HP.
Yep. Well, it's like 10,280 or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, 10,000. Right at about half HP, at around 31,000 HP. He starts with the hyperdrive counters and the havoc wings. While he's still in the top half of his HP, he's relatively harmless. He can take a turn, which I think has a 33% chance of him doing nothing. So not too much, but yeah, it's right as soon as you get him down to about half health is when the fun starts, and you really have to manage how much damage you're doing. And you can wait for him to charge a move called Goner, and while he's charging, he can't counter. But if you don't do enough damage in time, Goner will hit your whole party. Luckily, it's kind of weak, so a few different tips and tricks.
Ooh, Radio Guy is eating a Quake there.
Ouch. Yeah, he's not going to like that. Strago's not making it through. Let's see. What would you do? Would you be resetting right now?
At this point, I think I'm behind. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, you know, only 3 characters. You're down at least 25% of your damage. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have kept going, because that Sabin is not useless.
He's not. Yeah, he's got some levels on him. I don't know how well geared he is, though.
Yeah. Seto is taking advantage of Quick here during the Goner charging to get a metric ton of damage out, while Kefka cannot do any counterattacks. And I would be very surprised if this is not going to end Kefka here.
Yeah, for 2 more Merton casts, you'd have to think. Holgard asked which Esper was on Strago. Not sure. It's irrelevant at this point, but hopefully it wasn't something extremely useful.
Alexander.
Yeah, no big deal there. But this should do it for Seto, and there's the crack.
There it is.
GG to Seto, our winner tonight, with an official time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 41 seconds.
GG, well played. You know, this seed was not kind to either of our runners. It was just slightly more unkind to Radio Guy. I think either of them, definitely could have gotten through and made it on to the next round. They both put on a great show for us tonight. So be sure to give our runners a follow. As a thank you for entertaining us for the last couple of hours.
And now I'm going to see if we're able to get him in here for an interview, although it seems like I maybe don't have the permission this time.
So while this is going on, I do also want to bring up that this is, in true, I guess we're in May madness in an hour at this point. This is a Cinderella story. Seto Kiaba is our 31 seed, and is now finding himself in returners round 4, which is quite impressive, I have to say. It is fantastic seeing a newer runner coming in, learning the game, learning it really well, and then really showing up. We've had actually quite a few newer runners recently come in who are doing some quite impressive stuff. And that also goes to show that, our competitive scene is not only dominated by people who have been here since day one. I say as someone who went out in Returners Round 2. So, and I've been playing almost since day one.
Yeah, randomness sometimes, plays a big part. It happens. That's why we do the double elimination in this tournament. Hopefully, if RNG is not kind, hopefully your skill will get you through the next one. But, sometimes them's the break.
Yep, it absolutely happens, and that's half the fun.
Well, I don't appear to have the ability to get our runner in this channel, so I'm not sure we're going to get an interview tonight.
But it looks like Radio Guy is going to at least finish out the Kefka fight for us, clearing out Tier 2, which is very nice, especially considering, he is down his Strago, who he went out of his way to get and went out of his way to use, which is a little unfortunate. But Saban seems to be holding his own fairly well.
And some work.
All right. And hey, those fixed dice are absolutely doing work here. And is that going to be... That is all 4 rolls hitting girl, taking her out in 1 round. I'd rather be lucky than good.
Yeah, you don't see that every day. Anytime I could hit girl with all 4 dice rolls, they would do about 100 damage apiece. Hey, it looks so... Okay, I think we have Seto finally here, so I'm going to pull him up for an interview. And we have Seto. GG's. Well done on the finish.
Thank you. It was a little stressful at the beginning.
Yeah, we were noting the seed was not terribly kind in terms of either offense or with the dead checks, but
yeah,
things mounted pretty well towards the end there. When you want to give us a rundown of what you were thinking through the seed?
Yeah, I was extremely stressed up until I guess my second or third to last Magicite when I pulled Mertrin, because for most of the run, Fire 2 was my only offense and Sword Tech, and I saw me getting close to go mode, and I was wondering how the heck I was going to do Kefka, and luckily I had marked that I had a red, where I found red jackets. So as soon as I got Mertrin, I was able to just go all in on everyone, learn that as quick as possible. And that obviously saved the race for me.
Yeah, by the end there, after those magic power plus 2 espers the whole time, those Mertens were hitting horde. So that was a really good pickup and a good strategy.
Yep. I see that Radio Guy got fixed dice. That was an item I did not find.
Yeah, once you guys got to about, what was it, 6 characters and about 7 espers, that's when you started to diverge. He picked up Strago from the train, which we noticed you passed on. And he started doing Strago checks, and you went to the Yeti spot, and that was really the difference maker here. So he found the fixed dice, but didn't get Merton. And of course, those Strago checks take a while, so you got luckier in the routing department there.
Yeah, at that point when I saw Strago, I looked at my checks and I was like, odds are between the auction house and going up to Ice Dragon, which I lucked out that was actually Ice Dragon because I don't know if I could have taken any of the other dragons. But yeah, I saw him. I was like, his checks are too slow, and I think I have enough checks to get by without it. And obviously, the math added up in the end.
Yeah, we were sitting here doing the math of like, well, you need at least one of Tritalk or Umaro to be an Esper.
Yep.
And
yeah, otherwise you were going back for Strago, I think.
Or going to fight Goddess
yeah.
again, since I bailed out early on that one.
That is true. Both of you bailed out of that one. I think you're actually in that particular check at the same time.
Yeah, I think you both ducked out of that fight within 30 seconds of each other. Actually, for the first half of the race, you guys were pretty much step for step. And you basically picked the same checks in the same order, and the first half of the seed was pretty on rails. You know, there weren't too many other options, so it was a good race. And Radio Guy caught up a lot of time here. He had a good Kefka's Tower, got some really lucky dice rolls. But ultimately, you took it in the end, and you'll be advancing in the tournament. So GG's. Do you have any final thoughts before we let you go?
Just that I love Worlds Collide, and for anyone watching who thought this looked cool, please join the Discord. Everyone there is really friendly. I think I joined 4 weeks ago. I think the qualifier was my 5th race my fifth seed I ever rolled, and obviously, things to help everyone. I've gotten better, and so if it's interests you, join. The community is awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, and people in the chat were commenting on how much you've improved over this just this tournament. So well done, nice race, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Yep, hopefully. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
All right, man. Take care.
Our pleasure.
All right.
And we have a bang bang for Radio Guy PDX as well. GG's to Radio Guy. We'll see if we can get him in here for an interview as well. Now that we've figured out this problem. And here he is. Radio Guy. GG's. Well done on the finish there. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There you are. Oh, now
there
we got
go.
So Radio Guy, we had something of an event here. The first half of that seed was pretty harsh, but we thought you both handled it very well, and then kind of opened up in the second half. What were you thinking that whole time?
Yeah, it was. I shouldn't have cut out Narsh in the beginning. That definitely had the dried meat there for me. And yeah, the bosses weren't too bad. Didn't run any. I mean, other than that goddess that I ran from because I knew it was an Esper. I also completely miscounted the requirements for 6 characters. That I thought it was 8. Which after I went up to check Kefka at Narsh, you probably saw me run in circles once I finally checked the track page.
So yeah, we were wondering because we assumed you were just grabbing some more characters for some more checks for more possibilities for Espers, which is totally valid. But then when you hit that Kefka at Narsh check instead of fighting it, you just took off. So I wasn't sure what was going on there. But yeah, I guess although that fight could have yielded an Esper while you were there, but ultimately I don't think it mattered in the long run.
No, I knew. Hold on.
Squirrel. Should we vamp or?
No, Vamp's one of the other admins, Boo. That's not me.
Oh yeah, that's Ravlin. My bad.
I mean, regardless, this was a well fought race. I think both players did exceptionally well. I think this is, makes for a fun narrative of a Cinderella story of, a lower seed going very far into the tournament. But at the same time, I think everyone did quite well, and it looks like we have lost Radio Guy. His Discord has crashed out on him.
Well, shall we give him a moment or wrap this up? Let's give him a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to post this one more time in the chat if you want to follow along with our bracket for this Coliseum tournament. The link is in the chat. And if you want to come check out the Discord, get yourself started on running a seed, running a race, reading some guides, watching some vids, we're there to help you out and get started.
Absolutely. And if you want to, come in and start working with the restream teams, we have plenty of guides and resources for that as well. Radio Guy has just said that he is not able to get back into the Discord in a reasonable amount of time. So once again, I want to say GG, well played. Radio Guy, quite an accomplishment making it this far. There was no single person in this tournament who couldn't take a race off of anyone else. We had the seed. It was based off a single race, but every single person in this tournament was a formidable contender.
Hey, Radio Guy's back. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
I can now.
Yes.
This is crazy. My Discord's not even open right now, but awesome.
Oh, weird. All right. Well, while you're here, before we wrap it all up, any final thoughts you want to say about the tournament or the seed or Worlds Collide in general?
No. Well, yeah. The Coliseum. I loved the bracket. The bracket format. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Boo, for putting it on. It's very much appreciated. Worlds Collide is amazing. For anyone who hasn't tried it out, please join our Discord. And thanks, shout out to Atma, the creator of this wonderful gem that we play very often.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, Radio Guy. GG's again. We will hopefully see you in the next tournament. But thanks for running, and have a good one.
Same to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah. Go ahead, Raglan. Take us home.
Once again, I wanted to give a shout out to Naku and Ceiling Cat for tracking this race for us. Very, very helpful behind the scenes. That allows Boo and I to focus on actually saying mildly intelligent things. And thank you to SpeedGaming for hosting us here. And hopefully we get to see some of you guys and gals and Moogles and Tonberries in the chat join us in our Discord, and maybe join us for a community race, or just play a seed and have some fun.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you, Ravlin, for commentating with me. Thanks again to Atmatech, our creator, and like you said, SpeedGaming. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Stay tuned. Come check us out on the official Twitch, and we'll see you guys at the next one. And we out.